The knock at my door wasn't casual. It wasn't a neighbor dropping by. It was sharp, calculated, the kind of knock meant to intimidate. When I opened it, 3 men stood there in matching uniforms, badges clipped to their shirts, radios on their belts, and one of them holding a clipboard like he was in charge. "We're the HOA police," the leader barked, "and you're under arrest for violations." His tone was cold, rehearsed, dripping with authority he didn't actually have. I could almost laugh. Almost, because what they didn't know was simple. I wasn't just some homeowner. I was an FBI agent, and if they wanted to play cops, they were about to get schooled by the real thing. The so-called HOA police marched into my yard like they owned it, pointing at my Jeep, at my trash bins, at my dog's leash on the porch. Violations, they called them. Non-compliance with community standards. Their fake badges glinted in the sun. Cheap metal you could order online, but they held themselves like kings. The neighbors peeked from their windows, some whispering, some laughing, some too scared to get involved. The HOA had always been bad, but this was different. This was cosplay turned criminal. They tried to act tough, telling me they'd tow my Jeep, fine me thousands, and even drag me downtown. That last line almost broke my, nearly burst out laughing. Downtown, these idiots didn't even know the legal basics. But instead of laughing, I played along. Calm, serious, the way I'd been trained. "All right," I said, stepping aside. "Why don't you come inside, and we'll handle this properly." The leader smirked, thinking he'd won. The other 2 followed him in, puffed up with fake authority. The second the door shut behind us, my entire demeanor changed. My voice cut like steel. Badges on the table. Now confusion flickered across their faces. One of them stammered, "Excuse me." I didn't repeat myself. I pulled my wallet, flipped it open, and flashed my real badge, FBI, bold and unmistakable. Their eyes widened. The fake confidence drained from their faces in an instant. The leader tried to laugh it off, mumbling about just enforcing HOA policy, but I cut him off. Impersonating law enforcement is a federal crime. You just walked into the wrong house. Panic set in. One of them actually dropped his fake radio on the floor. I stepped forward, voice low and deliberate. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sit down, keep your mouth shut, and wait for the real police to arrive. Because right now, you're not neighbors. You're suspects." They tried to run excuses. "It was just a joke. The HOA told us to. We weren't really arresting you," but I wasn't buying it. I had them cold. Every word, every fake badge, every false claim was recorded because my house, unlike theirs, was wired with surveillance that fed straight into an FBI-secured system. Within minutes, backup arrived. Real law enforcement flooded the street, lights flashing, sirens piercing the quiet neighborhood. The so-called HOA police were dragged out of my house in handcuffs while the entire block watched. Neighbors who had once been too afraid to speak now stood tall, cheering, clapping, filming the whole thing. Karen, the HOA president, rushed out, screeching about misunderstandings and overreactions, but the look on her face when she saw my badge told me everything. She knew her little army of fake enforcers had just detonated the HOA's power in front of everyone. The 3 men faced charges: impersonating law enforcement, trespassing, harassment, heavy crimes, the kind that stick. And when the FBI takes a case, it doesn't get swept under the rug. The HOA tried to distance themselves, claiming these men acted independently, but everyone knew the truth. Karen had pushed them, fueled their arrogance, and now the whole house of cards collapsed. For weeks after, the neighborhood felt different. No more knocks, no more fines, no more threats slipped into mailboxes. The HOA went quiet, terrified of what would come next. And me, I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to brag. My badge, my silence, my presence did all the talking. Every time Karen walked past my yard, she couldn't look me in the eye. Every neighbor who once felt powerless now stopped to say thank you. The fake HOA police thought they could scare me into compliance. They thought their fake badges and loud voices would make me fold, but they forgot a simple truth. When you pretend to be the law, you answer to the real law. And when you bring that game to an FBI agent's doorstep, you don't just lose, you destroy everything you tried to build. Now the docks are quiet, the meetings half empty, the power gone from the HOA's grip. They whisper about that day, about the moment their fake police were dragged away in cuffs. And they whisper about me, the neighbor they thought they could intimidate. The man they tried to arrest, the one who pulled off their masks and showed the entire community who they really were. And sometimes, when I sit on my porch in the evening, I hear it. Not the knock of intimidation, but the sound of silence. The silence of a neighborhood finally free. All because the fake HOA police tried to play a game they didn't understand and lost it to the real thing.